Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome to my Part 3 recap, revisiting of the Arduin Grimoires. This morning I've got for you the Runes of Doom, Volume 3. This one actually, in addition to having a great cover, actually has a little bit of information of what to expect on the inside of the volume, which I thought was actually a step up. The art on the backs of the previous was great, but I really think this actually was a better idea for people who didn't know what they were picking up and looking at, and they could just go to the back, although the highly stylized font was a little difficult even for people with better eyesight than mine. But again, phenomenal condition. The only problem is the rust on the staples, but this one, I don't know how this one is in such good condition like the other one, whereas my volume 1 is trashed. Might be that I have other volumes elsewhere and those are the originals that I have, but either way, I'm pretty certain David A. Hargrave personally stapled these together just for me back in 1978. This one is a total of about 94 pages of greatness. Oh geez, I got water all over my notes. I wonder how that happened. Anyways, let's get into it, shall we? The opening comments are a bunch of thank yous to all the folks who helped put this together and stood by David all those years. Then we have a picture of Shardra the castrator, who's also mentioned later. I'm not going to show the image. You'll have to get yourself a copy to see the full Monty on that one. Then we go into the character legacy charts, which are all the social status and social levels of your character, from freeholder and commoner all the way to close royalty, as well as the owned equipment chart, which gives you everything your character might own depending on their actual station in life, which is more realistic, and that can include a single piece of armor or weapon and a couple of shekels here and there to get some things, all the way to full gear and just a crap ton, just anything you could possibly want to drag with you, but all dependent on your actual social status, which I think is far superior to just rolling a couple of die and getting some coins. It helps build your backstory without having to write a bunch of paragraphs. You just tick a box and okay, I'm from this background, and that will start building your character. A little section of character aging. A bunch of charts on random events, which is also fun and helpful for a new dungeon master to, you're in a new town or a new area. What's going on? What's the news of the day? Well, roll it up and find out. There's some good stuff. There's some bad stuff. Speaking of good stuff and bad stuff, this image should be on a t-shirt. Let's see if I can get a good look. You've got an Urukai, a Fraint, a Deodanth, and a Sarig. The most unlikely pairing of heroes or anti-heroes you could ever imagine. Just absolutely beautiful art. Perfectly depicts the four most unique races of Arduin. Of course, the Fraint being the favorite by leaps and bounds. Then we go into the new character professions, which I don't know if I said this last time, but with the little bit of information they gave you for each new profession, it still opened up a world of possibilities. I mean, that's all there is on the Alchemist. Let's see if I can. The glare is really bad with my lighting. Sorry, guys. That little bit of information tells you everything from first to 100th level, but it's pretty concise, and it really does give you a lot of room to grow and a lot of things you can do. The assassin's a little more detailed, probably because it's my second or first favorite character profession. Just something about going after the deadliest of prey always appealed to me as an anti-hero or a bad guy who eventually goes good. And then we've got the druid and the forester, and finally true paladins, or is there anything else? Oh, there's also the sage, and then we've got a little section on the good, the bad, and the ugly. Deodants as player characters, Franks as player characters, Saurigs, and these are many paragraphs to really nail home what these races would be like, and suggestions on how to play them. Which I can't stress enough how fun each of those races is. The Deodant, obviously inspired by Jack Vance's Dying Earth. The Frank, inspired by some sci-fi novel somewhere, I'm not sure. They're originally a starfaring race, as are the Deodants. Maybe even the Saurigs that crash on dimensional portal to Arduin, and then start trying to survive, adventuring. Then the world famous new hit point rules that, as a youngster, I was not happy about it, but as I aged and matured and realized, that I don't have that many hit points myself, and adventuring characters really shouldn't be, having triple digits in the way of hit points. It starts to take away from the overall excitement and fear and danger of the game when you're looking at 150 hit points and everything's doing a D8 damage. It just starts to become a little ridiculous. Now there is a happy medium somewhere in between there, but the way the new hit point system in this took away the hit die, it was actually pretty intuitive, and our good friends over at Barrows and Borderlands have implemented that on a temporary basis for their week or month of the comet. Then we get into the new magic items. A couple I wanted to highlight here to give you an idea of just how high powered, how high fantasy this game was meant to be. There's the Ring of the Djinn, or the Ring of the Ifrit, that literally when you activate it will give you the powers of said mystical being for a period of time. And there's no disclaimer saying, oh, they can't grant wishes. Clearly they can grant wishes while the ring is in effect. Unfortunately, there's roughly a 5% cumulative chance that you become the Ifrit or the Djinn, and you hand your character sheet over to the DM because you don't get to play him anymore. Then there was the Assassin's Cloak, which was one of my favorite magic items, obviously. That it was a combined Elven Cloak, Displacer Cloak, Cloak of Fire Resistance, and Cone of Silence, 5-foot radius around the wearer. Yeah, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 separate magic items in one. That's what Arduin was all about. Not just mixing genres and themes and things like that, but let's take a couple of magic items and squish them into one and make something really badass. And then there was the Ring of Elemental Summoning that once a day would allow you to summon one of the many elementals, many of which the new ones were in here, not just the 4 food groups, Earth, Wind, and Fire, that sort of thing, but Wood, Storm, Ascal. Storm elementals are just too cool for school. And after the magic items section, and there's pages of new magic items, we come to the new mages spells. And I noticed there were almost no new illusionist spells. There are magic user, there are cleric, and there are druid spells, but no illusionist. So once again, the illusionist got no love. Sorry, guys. Or sorry to all you gnome players, because those are the only people I ever see playing illusionists. I had one, made it to about 11th level, something like that. But they're tough. the new Arduin Illusionist hopes to rectify that and get more people playing them, because there have been numerous characters. Mandrake the Magician was very much an illusionist at times, and I'm certain there are other people out there that were illusionists as well in fiction, but none are coming to mind right now. Now, I wrote down a couple of the magic user spells. The Aphrodisiac Aura, which gives you a plus, it's a first level spell, mind you, gives you a +8 charisma to the opposite sex and +3 to the same sex. I don't know what Dave was trying to say there. Then one of Omanal's favorite new spells, Elric's Thunderball, a 4th level spell that is both a ball lightning and a fireball. You need to make 2 saves versus both kinds of damage. To me, that sounds like a crap ton of damage. Even if it's not, 1 die per level per fireball and ball lightning, even if it's just 1 die per, you're still going to have to make 2 saving throws, which means 2 chances to fail to take more damage. And for those people who are immune to fire but not lightning, or lightning but not fire, you're looking at some serious pain. And that was a 4th level spell. Then there was Gem's spell of the Far Terminus, a 10th level spell that will teleport your victim to another place, time, and world, dimension, I should say, dimension, time, and world, unless they make their saving throws. So not only could they be in the past or the future, but in another dimension, on another planet, randomly. Sucks to be you. Then we go into some cleric spells. The saintly spell of Gabriel's Golden Horn, which is, I believe, a 10th level spell. Yeah, 10th level cleric spell. That will raise from the dead all the recently dead individuals surrounding the spellcaster for 1 round per level, that will then fight for them. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, okay, so you raise some kobolds or whatever. Yeah, but think when you're higher level in more dangerous environments, and you just knocked out an army of trolls or giants or even just a half a dozen. Well, now they're all fighting for you. It's pretty badass. Then there's the druid spell I picked that I like the most, because a lot of them, I'm going to be honest, are spells that were later picked up, and rightly so, by other games or other iterations of Dungeons and Dragons, etc. But the Sinwarin's spell of the Walking Wood, 1 tree per 3 levels of the druid will rise up and attack as an ent. It's a 5th level spell. 5th level. So you're a 9th level druid, and 3 big old freaking pine trees uproot and start doing your bidding. It's pretty badass. And then we get into the monster section. This is where the real fun begins as a GM. I highlighted a couple of the monsters there as well. The Blue Wraiths, again, my Caliban party bumped into some of those, much to their chagrin. A Blue Wraith is a raised spirit. It looks just like what you'd expect, I'm guessing, of someone who hasn't been born yet. I don't know what Dave was smoking, but that's some next level manipulation of reality. That, right? How do you deal with that? I mean, I suppose you could try to turn it, but it's just weird, right? The Shadow Dragon, which Dave first coined in 1978, before it would later come out in, I believe it was the Fiend Folio, or maybe it was the Monster Manual 2, many years later, that breathed out 13 levels of life training. And this wasn't the watered down TSR version. This was 13 levels I'm taking. as the GM, your party just lost 13 levels, or at least the people in the breath weapon area of effect, and then a couple rounds later you do it again. That's just mean. That's just mean and nasty. No wonder I like it so much. Then the Red Death, which is right out of that classic Star Trek episode with the red fog that would drain people of their blood. Well, you can bump into it on Arduin, and in numbers, I suppose. Then one of my favorite monsters of all time, the Star Spider. It looks like a big glowing ball of light with multiple tentacles that try to draw you in and radiate you to feed itself. And the damage is just horrific. I think it's like 4 to 48 points of damage once the tentacles grab you. Just awful. And then another creature, the Philastra, which were, again, kind of like those hippies from Star Trek. You know, the ones going to Eden, because of the way they describe the ears and the bald heads and that sort of thing. Except they're slavers. Yeah, of all things. It would have been funny just to leave them as the star-crossed, wanderlusted hippies, but no, these are electrified, net-wielding, laser gun-toting slavers. And then they had their minions, I forget what they were called, I think they're thralls, which were anybody they picked up and put the gold collar on and would now do their bidding, which could eventually be the player characters if you roll your dice, you know, the right way, get lucky, or the players get real unlucky, which would make for a great adventure trying to escape. And then, of course, last but not least, was the Thrune, which was the giant greenish-gray, four-armed, tusked, barbaric monstrosities, laser gun wielding. Yeah, where have I heard that description before? Anyways, the remainder of the book is taken up with demon lore, the new demons, some lesser demons, and of course the greater demons that put Orcus and Asmodee to shame. One of my favorites that I still use to this day, and still actively, don't tell my party, but working behind the scenes to their detriment, is Ralko, a very nasty demon lord. But there's like 20 of them in here, and any one of them would just ruin a party's day, if not year. Yeah, just so many nasty things. The end of the book, after the demon section, is full of notable tribes of like barbarians and notable bandits and criminals with the bounties on their heads. A little bit of detail, enough for you to quickly create a bandit lord and his minions, and what they're good at, what they're walking around with, how many minions they have, and what their big fat bounty is worth should you bring them in dead or alive. And one of my favorite images of all time, as it rounds out the book, is the, I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's the Attack of the Kill Kittens. Yeah, if you're ever in the woods and you come across a little kitten, you know, asking for help because its paws all busted up, run. Just run. Because that's your only chance of escape. Because anything else is going to get you really, really messed up. But that was Arduin. The deadliest, most brutal, made you think. Every nook and cranny, every encounter was never what you thought it was. There was always something going on behind the scenes, always something deadly around the next corner. And I'll tell you more about it tomorrow when I finish up this series for the week at least. I may go into it more next month, but I've got a whole bunch of things planned for Atlantean Autumn. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Sorry about the auto-dubbing nonsense that YouTube decided to spring on me. I think I got that cleared up. Hopefully this won't happen again. If it does, I'll be pulling my hair out behind the scenes until I fix it. But you guys have yourself a great day. I will see you guys Friday, because I don't think I'll be doing a painting show tomorrow night. I think I'm in a game with Nerdy Ogre. I don't know if it'll be live. If it is, I'll put it in the community post, and you can watch us all fight off wave after wave of zombies in Palladium's Dead Rain, hosted by Nerdy Ogre. But that's what I got for you tonight. Have a great day. Love you guys, and as always, happy trade.